Alright, so just I need to do another one. I mean, sometimes there's just such situations where things are absolutely unbelievable. And, I often I think it's unbelievable to many people who aren't burying their heads in the sand clearly, but I mean, sometimes it's just seriously unbelievable. Even more unbelievable than just corruption. You know, because corruption. Yeah, whatever. I mean, not in the sense that it's acceptable at all. I'm just absolutely befuddled that somehow voters are completely accepting of it. But what's even more bizarre, some voters vote for their own mortality, pretty much, unless, of course, as I've mentioned in the past, they likely think that somehow, oh no, they'd totally be excluded. No, yeah, I'm sure you could just vote for death, the descent upon others, just not yourself. No, no. I'm sure they have some sort of mass delusion there. They can control the very specter and the scythe of death itself. Yeah, well, that's sorry, voters for you. But what's even more unbelievable isn't so much like I mean, yeah, admittedly, the election was before the pandemic, but of course it doesn't. I mean, polls still exist. You know. So the point is, I just cannot believe, right? I'm listening to yeah current affairs as one does. I'm honestly just thinking, just stopping because at this point, it's almost just collective psychosis, right? And even by listening to it, sometimes it just seems like one is participating in this collective psychosis. Yeah, as one might have noticed, this will be certainly more serious than the one previously made. But that, Patel it doesn't necessitate a serious. But I mean, at this point, people cannot be reasoned with, can they? If people are sadistic, they're just simply sadistic, right? There's no reason to it. So the point with this, though, slightly different tangent here, is just full on. I'm not sure it's even just psychopathy at this point. I think it is truly, and this is, I think, truly mental illness. I mean, for a while, I've thought that nationalism cannot be anything other than mental illness. I mean, sort of like I thought it personally. Like, was it was it was it actually Einstein who thought that it was something similar? I'm not sure if he exactly used that phrasing, but anyway, yes. So look, the point is, I was listening to this kind of first program, and literally it had a section, you know. It first began with, I mean, this is the state of affairs in the UK, right? Like, even if voters voted before the pandemic, politicians currently, even after the most idiotic, bumbling idiot of a supposed leader, right? Very much huge inverted commas, got sick himself. He couldn't give a shit, honestly. I mean, it's not like he just, you know, I mean, sure. I think he didn't just continue on saying, "Oh yeah, I'm just totally shaking so totally shaking hands with patients all over." I think he didn't. I'm not entirely sure though. I might have missed it. I'm sure he's still an absolute idiot. So he might have done that, again. But I didn't catch it. Anyway, what is happening there is absolutely unbelievable, right? So this program had, side by side. I think it's kind of clever. I mean, it's news ultimately, so it's whether if the government decides to just go full on mental illness, then news can only report it, I suppose. Can't blame news for talking about it. Um, I just cannot believe it, though. I just cannot believe it. So side by side, there was this absolute, full blown psychosis about flag bullshit, you know. And after it, just after this, you know, discussion, in inverted commas, yet again, being inverted commas, because you might as well say, oh yeah, people in straight jackets in mental hospitals can totally having a discussion, and they start going on about how people can read their minds. I mean, heck, for all we know, that's yeah, for all we know, Tories will start claiming. I mean, voters will keep voting for them, right? Well, why wouldn't they? As I tried to intimate in the previous video, previous recording, why wouldn't they go on live air, and masturbate, if people still vote for them? Similarly, why wouldn't they go and just say that they can read people's minds? Like, that's the whole thing, right? So, straight after this bit about this psychosis, and this is psychosis, right? I mean, it's sort of similar to, schizophrenic people have delusions of reference, right? Where an object somehow has personal significance. Now, that perfectly describes flags, right? Under normal circumstances, by all means, flags are simply, a differentiating symbol for different countries. I mean, all countries seem to have agreed to have flags, so by all means, of course, don't just the point is to sort of see how psychotic a country is by how much it uses it. That's the point, I think. Um, and clearly, the Conservative Party decided to go full steam ahead into psychotic territory. Yeah. So after this feature, shall we say, I don't know what to call it, honestly, just absolute psychotic nonsense, right? On this program that they had to report on just because politicians decided to just, act like people who require straitjackets, except somehow they cannot have straitjackets. Um, um, yeah, straight after there was another feature about people who need to be induced in a coma, right? Hmm. Quite something, isn't it? This is the state of this country. Absolute insane state. This to say the least. This flag absolute fucking nonsense is happening at the same time that people are in comas all over the country. Now, tell me, I mean, who is saying that? Are people in a coma? Or these fucktards going around thinking that somehow some some what the fuck is a flag anyway? Just some fucking colors. Like, who the hell cares? I mean, colors are great, but honestly, they're just absolutely wasted on a flag. What's the point? Colors are there to paint, to have, to make movies, video games. What the fuck are flags? Flags can go fuck themselves. People have such absolute fucking psychosis about this. Absolutely unbelievable. And this while people need to be induced in a coma. Yeah. Yeah, in a rational world, the Conservative Party would be induced in a coma. I mean, it's because I mean, I don't know, unless somehow, I mean, I'm not sure. Um, I guess they do not require it physiologically, at the very least. In a rational world, they'd be the one in a mental hospital. Clearly, we're talking about specifically mentally abnormal here, right? Unless of course, yeah, by all means. At this point, there's constant corruption, constant. They could just get their dick out on live TV and then get another 4 or 5 years. Yeah. So I mean, at this point, I guess when the masses of people go insane, then yeah, great. It's normalized insanity. That's how insanity works ultimately. If the majority of people act a certain way, then that's it. That's the standard. That's the threshold for and in many cultures throughout history. So-called insane people are perfectly sane. They just they either um, ask too many questions. So this is absolutely bizarre though. People though, seriously, just voters. Like I don't know. I mean, I mean, this is the thing that obviously one cannot keep saying, "Oh yeah, well, the election was before the pandemic." There are polls, and polls somehow indicate that people seem to support that these two features side by side, basically. Yeah, right. Um, I'm sure the people induced in a coma can just have a flagpole just pushed into their asses. I don't know. It's the state of the fucking UK, right? I guess voters think that some bullshit symbolism is all a country needs to solve all its problems. I suppose they must masturbate using flagpoles. Because honestly, I'm at this point. This is the point, right? I mean, if they go live on air and masturbate, then and they go up in polls, that can only mean that their constituents must also masturbate. Maybe not live on air, but I mean, that's not the point. I mean, the point is they must do it in certainly unusual ways, right? Like, you cannot have a flag and just stare at it, right? You just need to hammer it up the ass. And yeah, I know I said that this might be serious. Honestly, I don't know what else. What the fuck? Like seriously, I am speechless. Side by side, literally this feature, and I do not blame this program at all for having them side by side. Ideally, the psychotic feature isn't there at all, but it's there because somehow people voted for it. There is clearly always a point in history when countries just fall, crumble, and disappear. And clearly it's due to shitheads who somehow think that, yeah, flags will totally accomplish so much, when in reality, it's very ironic, isn't it? A flag that destroys the country it represents. And not only the country itself, collectively, but individuals as well. Destroys people's lives. This is mere symbolism that destroys the actual, you know. Fuck bullshit patriotism. Fuck nationalism. I might the flagpole. Fuck them all, right? Such absolute psychosis. People with mental health problems, usually hidden away. But no, these people just get their dick out and just, oh hello, look how fat my dick is. I'm a blonde fucked out with a dick out. Oh look, a curry. Oh, a curry, let me fuck ya with a flagpole.